Do you know this house? This is the glass house in New Canaan, Connecticut, built between 1948 and 49 by Phillip Johnson for himself. He lived in this house with his partner David Whitney till Phillip Johnson died in 2005 at the age of 98. If you've seen my previous video and you're thinking to yourself that this house looks very similar, you'd be correct. A little backstory on Phillip Johnson. He was a very wealthy man who studied architecture at Harvard in 1940, and his mentor was, you guessed it, Ludwig Mies van der Rohe. Johnson saw the plans for the Edith Farnsworth house, and just because he had a boatload of cash, he thought to himself, like he did his entire career, I'm going to use this for my next project. So, inspired by the plans for the Farnsworth house, he built himself a house. Unlike the previous two houses I've shared with you, this house has a direct relationship with the ground. This is called New Authenticities, as described by architectural critic Jeff Kipnis. He describes this as a new way of being in the world. Johnson uses the same materials as the Farnsworth house, steel and glass, except he adds brick. Now this might not sound like a big deal. By doing this, it connects the house directly back to the land. Brick is a material of the earth. The floors are brick, then the brick becomes the walls of the bathroom and fireplace, then it breaks through the roof to become the chimney. And in a way, this house is the most traditional of the previous two that I've shown you. The entry of the house is centered, the house is symmetrical, and has very defined boundaries, or corners. Instead of going floor to ceiling with the walls of glass, Johnson breaks up the mass of the house by adding this thin, almost decorative-like strip a quarter of the way up the glass wall. The glass house is also an open floor plan with only a singular offset circular mass wall and built-in storage that does not touch the ceiling. Like the previous houses, this house is also stripped of ornamentation. But here's something unusual. Instead of white like Villa Savoy and the Farnsworth house, this one is black steel, and the glass is highly reflective so that in certain angles, literally nature becomes the ornamentation. My name is Dee, and this is architecture.